report and not to the main account.
Yeah. Why did you say that? Oh, well, wait a minute. Sorry, hold on. My kid's screaming across the house. I forgot I was.
Let me go ahead and turn off the ding noise now that we're streaming live. Never seen them do this before. And a few more people that are still trickling in, so we'll let folks kind of make their way in. And then I'll just drop a message in the there's Chanel. All right. Well, I'm glad that those of you that have made it were able to get here. The main account.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. So we have a few folks on the call tonight that know more than I do about what we're going to be talking about tonight. And so I'm going to be asking some questions when the CEO jumps on. But right now on the call, I have my good friend James, who I've known for a long time. I think I met you like soon after I got to Hawaii. So probably somewhere around 2006, 2007. I've known Nicole I feel like almost as long, or somewhere close around there. And so I have some old OGs on the phone and some new friends and some all that in between. I was introduced to
Oh,
Ellie. Oh, there's Hanieh. I was introduced to EllieMD through James, and am on Team Joy with Blair and some other folks. Who Janelle is here. And so what I wanted to do was have tonight as an opportunity for us to learn a little bit more. I know there were questions and people were asking me, and I'm like, listen, I have been doing this. I dove into a rabbit hole. It would be best to hear it from the mouths of the people who have been in it for a little bit longer than me. And then this opportunity came up where I could actually have Hanieh on the call. So I'm gonna stop and just spotlight Hanieh so that you can talk to everybody and just introduce yourself and talk about what we're doing here today before I ask questions.
Oh, well, thank you, Amina, and thank you all for tuning in. I'm Hanieh, founder CEO of Ellie. I could tell you what we're doing here, but we're solving a much bigger problem. I find that, interestingly enough, I've been working with doctors now, with doctor networks and doctor groups for about 6 years as I've been diving into telehealth and providing different services. And it's incredible. The gaps that I'm seeing in the medical educational system that's based primarily on the fix it system, right? It's a sick care system, and that's what doctors are educated on. It's like patient gets sick, this is how you fix it. It's disease management, put band-aids on things and get them out there. And I think that's just such a terrible and wrong approach to have. I think there's a much better way that focuses on preventative care, that focuses on nutrition, on products and services that your body knows and recognizes and can work with. But it's not necessarily taught in medical school. And if it is, it's a very short, brief course. I think nutrition is like a couple hours in medical school. So I saw a gap in the market and an opportunity to be able to do it right and provide true healing to individuals. Because I spent a majority of my career on the sick care side. In longevity, well, longevity was really gerontology and aging. And I would see so many of my 70-year-olds, 75-year-olds bedridden and in wheelchairs, and that's it. They're immobile, and most of their spending, healthcare spendings, would happen in those last 10 years. And we were just like, and so my goal at that time was, how do I get them active? How do we maintain baseline so that the disease doesn't progress? But I was like also part of the sick care system. I wasn't really contributing it to it the way that I wanted to. So I went back to the drawing board and I was like, what would a true healing system look like where you shift the paradigm and provide true health care instead of sick care and sick management? And that was really where the concept came to life. And in my ideal world, it was making preventative health care accessible to the masses. It was bringing education to the front and center and teaching people before they even get sick, educating them on what's happening in their body, nutrition, health. And it's a holistic approach of mind, body, spirit, but it's spearheaded with a community approach because I know for a fact, we've seen it in this country and all around the world. Big, huge global movements have started in small communities, in church basements, on Zoom calls such as this, right? Or gatherings that people have had. So I do believe through a community approach and a mission that we collectively participate in, we can shift the healthcare system, but it also starts with ourselves. Like, how am I, who am I to talk about healthcare when I'm sick myself? My weight is up and I'm not feeling good and I'm not feeling my best and I'm not giving my best to my community. So it really healing, when I think about it, it starts with the self, getting our bodies to where they need to be in those ideal states. And then from there, we can advocate for our friends, our family, our loved ones, and collectively we all rise together. So that's the mission of EllieMD. It's this community powered approach to healthcare and holistic care. And we're in the early stages. I'm proud to say some of the impact we've had has been thousands of people losing weight through this community approach. They have a place to go to that takes away from the stigma of whether it's GLP-1 products or other therapeutics. There's a place for them to have these conversations. They don't have to suffer alone. They can talk about menopause and their symptoms. And it's like, wow, we're collectively in this together. So we've been able to do that, but we have peptide therapy, these medications that really synergistically work with the body. The body recognizes it and it knows what to do with it. So we have these therapeutics available, and we're going to have the goal is to make them even more personalized for the individual. So it really knows how to work with that individual's body. But diagnostics are coming in the near future, hormone therapy, and again, thinking about the body holistically. And then when I think about that, it's like, yes, you could replace the bricks and put brand new bricks into this house. But if you have the same blueprint, you're going to build the same house over and over. And that's where the mind, body, and the spirit need to work together. So we got to change the blueprint. And that's, your attitude and your approach and habits and mindset. And we're going to do that together. So we're in the early stages, but we've done a lot to impact our communities, and I'm proud of that. I'm really, really proud of that. Thank you. This is it. These are the conversations we need to have.
Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate that intro. When I came and when I first heard about peptides and I saw James talking about them, I ignored them because I didn't think that he was talking to me. I didn't feel like it had anything to do with me at all, actually. And what he mentioned in one post, there were some words, something, 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 sexual wellness, something, something, something else. And so as a sexologist, I was like, what's that? What do you mean? Let me look this up. And so he thought he ha-ha'd me at first. He was like, "Hi, yeah, I mean," I'm like, "No, I'm serious. What is it actually doing for sexual wellness? I want to hear this story." And so then we jumped on a call and I started looking into it, and I, listened to a couple lectures out of Stanford. I wanted to go look up NIH articles and do my thing. So I wasn't just like buying into a marketing pitch, but like really understanding a little bit more. And one of the things she says, talking about, it almost doesn't feel like medication for me because it feels like supplements, and I've been taking supplements my whole life. And I like so much of what I've known about peptides. I've only known about GLP. I've only known about GIP and like, some of the other big names that are out there. And I'm like, well, I'm not, I've been in the gym my whole life. I'm pretty athletic. I'm pretty fit. This is not for me. Sure, I have a little slow weight gain happening right now for menopause, but I just need to tighten it up. That's not for me. But what has happened is in this little slow weight gain corner that I'm in this menopausal moment that I'm in, the doctors noticed that my blood pressure was going up. And so I was reading, oh, okay, well, this also helps to lower your blood pressure. And I'm like, okay, because I definitely don't want to. I know what will kill my sex drive, and that's medication for blood pressure. I know what will kill my sex drive, and that's medication for cholesterol. And so I'm working against the system in my body that's trying to raise and elevate these things and keeping it down. And then I read about these peptides that would tend to that. And that felt so much more important. And also, it kind of pissed me off a little bit. I'm not going to lie, honey, because everybody and everything that I've ever heard was just around diabetes management and weight loss. And that's just not been a big priority for me. It is a priority for many, but it's like, oh, I don't have, these are not my concerns. I know if I tighten up my diet, I know if I do this, and then I realized like I was kind of I feel like I was being robbed of like all this information. Like this product also helps with all these other things. There's all of these peptides that are out there. I have clients that are navigating sexual dysfunction in a variety of ways, but andropause and menopause have folks in my age, I'm 48, in my age range, all, kind of trying to figure out, well, like, oh, it's not as hard as it used to be. It's not as wet as it used to be. What do I do? And then here's PT 141 and all these. So I'm learning and I'm coming in with like a little bit like, oh, man, why weren't they telling me any of this kind of attitude?
I feel robbed of information. Well, that's the education piece of this community. Look, you're opening that conversation up for us to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I wanted to have that conversation. I had a couple questions that I want to ask you. I know we have a limited time with you and you have a busy schedule, but I'm curious if you can talk about beyond weight loss, how GLP and GIP peptides are influencing patients' well-being, especially their general access to pleasure. I know weight loss contributes to our access to pleasure, but I'm just curious if you could talk a little bit more about how some of the peptides, not GLP, GIP too, but also the other ones are contributing to people's overall sense of like joy, because that's my lane.
Well, I mean, besides the physiological effects, which we could talk about, first and foremost, when you drop the weight, your confidence boosts and you feel sexy, you feel good in your skin. And that in itself impacts your sexual wellness and your body image as a whole. I know also your energy goes up, which contributes. So those two are like, forget all the other stuff that comes with it internally with our organs and blood and cardiovascular health and so forth. But just the way that we start seeing ourselves in a different body and the energy and mood that we have around it, like increases libido in itself. And then the second thing is you have reduced inflammation, which helps with circulation. And as we know, if like your sexual health is directly related to what's going on in your health and longevity. You can't talk about longevity without addressing sexual health, right? If you're not if you're not feeling desire anymore and your libido's down, something's going on. All right. So I have seen that our GLP-1s or I mean the data's out there, the information is out there on that once you reduce inflammation and help with all those cardiovascular health benefits, circulation improves, and that directly impacts our sexual organs and functioning and intimacy directly. And then there's also sleep. You get better sleep, sleep apnea. They're prescribing these medications. It's now, I think, FDA approved. The GLP-1 GIP is FDA approved for sleep apnea. So when you're getting better sleep, you have better mental clarity, and all of a sudden intimacy goes out. It's all directly related, you know. You can't talk about one without addressing the other. So, and then you're more emotionally available for your partner, right? When you have better mental clarity and mood and energy. So think about all of that. It's again, it's holistic. It's not just one thing, it's all of it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think that that holistic piece is what I'm trying to access. Now, I know there's a lot of conversations. I'm hearing a lot of conversations in like the Facebook groups and such around the peptides and menopause. And I'm just curious if you can depict so much of what we're facing, those of us that are in perimenopause, or even those of us that have already had the 12 months without a period, and they're like, nope, I'm officially postmenopausal. We're navigating, dysfunction in actual like the functionality of it, like the wetness is and the vaginal atrophy, along with desire. And I saw that some of the peptides are useful for that. And I was curious if you could just talk about anything that you know about it. I know this is not your specific lane, but I'm sure you've heard more
Yeah.
than I have.
So besides the GLP-1s, there's also PT-141, which is a phenomenal. Actually, it was prescribed for women who experience low libido as they enter menopause or they're in perimenopause and even post. So it works directly on the dopamine and reward pathways of the brain, and it increases desire, and so it works much more different. It works different than your tadalafils, which primarily focus on blood flow. PT-141 is part of the desire pathway, so it increases desire and libido, especially for women. That's very, very important to us. I see someone that says, I use PT-141 and love it. We also have this other um, medication or peptide combination called the Thrill Pill. And that one, now we brought it all together. So PT-141 is great. But what if you do have issues with blood flow? And how about like connection? Connection is really important to us women. So great, you've got the desire pathways going, but you also want intimacy for us women as well as men. It's all about connection. And that's where oxytocin comes in, right? It's the hormone that mothers release when they're breastfeeding a baby. And that's the connection hormone. So we have oxytocin, we have PT-141 that works on the brain dopamine pathways. And then the third thing is the tadalafil that helps increase blood flow. And for women, because of the way that our tissues are, it takes a little bit longer for blood to come in, whereas men get the erection within minutes. Women, for us, it takes a little bit longer. It needs to warm up 15, 20 minutes to really get blood. So the tadalafil helps with bringing blood flow to those critical regions. That one's my go-to and my favorite. If no one's
Okay.
tried it yet, make sure you try it.
I have not tried
All
it
of that
because
also helps with like moisture and increasing wetness in that region. It all
yeah,
kicks, yeah.
I've heard great things about the thrill pill. I have not tried it yet though. I'm curious if there are questions that you all have in the room that you can bring in. I have a couple other questions, but I want to make sure that folks that are curious about this, um, I don't push a lot of products. It's not my thing. I'm busy in my work and I'm grateful for that. I don't ever have to push products. And so I this is also, it feels like I don't want to push this product either, but I found something that I'm really feel like it's a hell yes in my body. I'm like, okay, yeah, all right. And then my biggest kind of apprehension was that I didn't want to use a needle because I was taking B12 vitamin once a month and I was doing a self-injection and that shit hurts, y'all. Anyway, I took this shot and it was almost like a mosquito bite. Like I didn't even feel it because the needle was so thin.
Tiny, yeah.
Yeah, and so a lot of questions that I have that people have asked are like, does it hurt when you do it? And so if you have other questions, those are the ones that were big ones for me. Are you showing the needle?
Yeah, I also wanted to talk about this guy. I know we PT-141 when it comes to especially sexual health and wellness. We talk a lot about PT-141 and oxytocin and so forth. So there's this other product called tesamorelin, ipamorelin. It's a growth
Mhm.
hormone releasing hormone, and the ipamorelin is a growth hormone releasing peptide. So it's a GHRH and a GHRP. And this also has, as growth hormone increases in our body, because it starts to dip as we get older. And as growth hormone dips, so goes our libido and everything else, a lot of different functionalities. But this increases growth hormone, which has a it's directly correlated to our sexual function. And you'll notice that right away, increased libido once you start taking tesamorelin, ipamorelin, increased energy, increased muscle mass, lower visceral fat. Actually, that's what it was initially prescribed for to HIV patients who would accumulate visceral fat. And visceral fat is toxic for the body overall. It increases our cardiovascular complications. And again, the cardiovascular system is so important when it comes to our sexual health and function, overall function. And this helps with that. So my go-tos when it comes to sexual health and wellness, the GLP-1, same thing. They all work synergistically and they work together. So the GLP-1s are a great one to use. The PT141, tadalafil, oxytocin combination, and then growth hormone as we get older. We want to make sure that we supplement that. And then for energy, I love NAD. Some people do increase or experience higher libido and just overall mood and um, wellness. You know, we're talking about longevity at the end of the day, right? If your sexual organs are working, you're living, you're good. Your system's working.
Right, right,
Um,
right.
but yeah, I would love to answer any questions that you have.
Yeah. I'm curious about the I worked in HIV prevention and treatment for many years. And so for those of you that don't know, like if you around someone that has, but especially before, on the old retrovirals, is that the stomach would get distended, kind of like the, Somalian kids that we saw in the Sally Struthers ads when they were younger, which is kind of the bellies would just jut out. And it was a body shape type. And I feel a lot of that, we call it apron belly now, for those of us that are moving into menopause, where all of a sudden we just have a little more fupa than we had 10 years ago. And so I'm really curious about this one and how it approaches, like how it helps tend to that marker of health, because that is a marker of health. That's one of the things that doctors and that medical experts are going to measure is your hip to waist ratio. And if that belly is distended, like that is a marker of your overall health and wellness. And so I'm really curious about, I know that one just launched, and so I'm curious about more, seeing what the testimonials around that is.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm also curious if you have any advice that you would offer to somebody that was considering these peptides, but but also navigating all the stories that they might be telling themselves about, like how they can do this on their own, or whether or not this is something that they need to do, and what happens when they come off. Like, what type of advice do you have for folks that have those kind of apprehensions?
Yeah, specifically with the GLP-1s, I always saw it as a tool. I've lost 100 pounds on these products. So I am a product of the product. I've been there. That's why when I talk about weight loss, it changed my life. Not that you can't feel good at whatever weight you're at. You can feel amazing, but I felt even more amazing and confident in my own skin, and I was able to leave those toxic relationships and start really appreciating my body and taking care of it. So for me, it's a tool of hope. Before, when I would yo-yo in my weight, I would go up and down, and it's like I saw the weight gain as defeat, and like there I go, a failure once again. Like I'm back to square one, and it would really affect my sense of image and self-esteem, but I don't have that. So just to take away from that sort of anxiety that I would experience has been just a breath of fresh air overall. Um, and it doesn't have to be a product that you're on or something that you're on for the rest of your life. Would you like when you need crutches, if you injure your body and you need crutches, do you see it as, oh my God, I'm going to have these crutches for the, or no, I'm rehabilitating my body. I'm trying to learn how to navigate, help heal the parts that need the healing, learn new life habits, and then I'm done. I don't need the crutches. And God forbid I get another injury. Well, there you go. I'll bring the crutches out. So that's how I see these. It's a tool. It's not meant to be a permanent fix in your life, but it is a fantastic tool to just get you going, get those 30 pounds, 40 pounds down, get those nice nutritional habits going, feel confident, get back in the gym, and there you go. And if you ever need to go back on it, you have that as a tool.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm curious if anyone, oh, Mackenzie has a question. Let me go ahead and how do I do this? I want to bring Mackenzie on, but I also want to just open it back up to the view everybody view. So remove spotlight. That's what we do. Okay, there we go. Mackenzie, go ahead, ask your question.
Hey, honey. Hey, Amina.
Hello.
I am curious about like if you're already on on metformin, are there any contraindications for taking the GLP with metformin?
It's interesting actually because I have a friend who's really, really into longevity, and he started to recently microdose GLP-1s, and he's still taking his metformin. And I'm like, well, you don't have to take metformin anymore. The GIP is enough. And then he was like, no, I've read the studies that actually it like enhances because they have different mechanisms of action. So I went back, I did my research, and sure enough, they do. And there is, I mean, again, I'm not a medical professional. This is based solely on my research. You have to speak to your healthcare provider. However, they work differently on the body, and the way that they affect insulin. So there's no contraindication. However, you don't want to accidentally like overdo it where you get a significant dip in your blood sugar. But if you're doing it for longevity purposes and microdosing, there seems to be key results in helping improve overall wellness and longevity. So no, but consult your doctor, and that's a great question that you can ask them if you're
Okay,
interested. Yeah.
thank you.
And Dr. Corey Cooper is in the chat also, and she's a pharmacist in Atlanta, and her work focuses on diabetic patients. She's been diabetic care for a very long time, and she also says there's no contraindications. They're frequently used together. And I'll be on a call with her on Thursday. We're going to chat more about like management on that side as well. So yeah, it looks like we have another question. Oh, and then Blair also is adding, yes, you can do BHRT. Oh, wait, that's talking about the HRT. Jessica asked, I'm in a Facebook group for women over 40, and some of the women are talking about nausea and GI motility issues, even on microdosing of tirzepatide. What is your experience of the frequency of this? Can tirzepatide microdosing be safely used with BHRT? And 3, does your company accept insurance? I only know the answer to number 3. So,
As far as nausea goes, we can get you Zofran if needed. But if you start slow and you titrate up slowly, you shouldn't experience too many negative side effects. I mean, sometimes you do the first week, lethargy, low energy. That sometimes happens. Some people experience the complete opposite, and it's like a sudden spike and boost in energy. So it's hard to say. However, if just it seems to be a titration. So maybe you could split up your dose into 2 for that week and then slowly titrate your way up until your body becomes accustomed to the medication. And then number 2, can it be used with BHRTs? Yes, absolutely. Number 3, no insurance, no. Um,
but FSA and HSA, yes, right?
just say.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Any other questions before Honey has to leave? I know you have another call.
No, well, it was lovely to meet you. Dr. Cooper, you're here. Oh, Dr. Cooper's in the house. You're in good hands. If you have any questions, she's a great one to ask. She's a pharmacist and knows her stuff. So it was lovely to meet all of you. Thank you so much for your time and being part of this beautiful community. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Honey. Thanks for taking time and jumping
Of
on. I appreciate
course. Take care.
it.
Bye,
All right.
everyone. Bye.
All right. So that's the CEO of the company and the founder. She had another business also before. And one of the questions that I asked when when James and Janelle and some of the other folks were like, how can we be supportive? And I was like, well, okay, here's the deal. My community is a community of mostly Black women. And to hear folks that are to hear white women come in and talk about weight loss and healthcare is not going to feel the most welcoming, considering the systems that we've been engaged in and how medical care has been for us, and the history of just racism and other issues in our medical care. And I wanted to see if, like, can we have somebody that is a person of color come on and talk, because the website and the company wasn't really giving that. And then James is, brown and Hawaiian in Hawaii. And then they're like, well, we do have the CEO is Persian. I'm like, okay, well, let's get her on. So I'm very grateful that she was like, yes, I can come speak to your group. And then they were like, and there's this other woman named Dr. Corey Cooper who is on the call. Thanks, Dr. Corey, for coming on. We have a call coming up on Thursday. And I wanted, where I don't know that much. Right? This is not, I know this is not my lane. I am a projector. I am a perpetual lane hugger. I like to stay in my lane. My lane, though, is wellness. It is erotic wellness, sexual wellness. And I've been in fitness and wellness for a long time. I've been an athlete for a long time. I don't anymore, but I still hold all those certifications. I've been a body worker for a very long time. Um, and and I'm also at this point where I'm like, oh, wait, the things that used to work for my body are not working for my body. I'm still working out 5 to 6 days a week, and things aren't moving in the way they used to move. Of course, I'm dancing a lot more than I'm lifting weights, but that's not the point. The point is I'm in the gym 5, 6 days a week, or I'm on the trail I'm moving, my body is moving, and then I'm still noticing all of these things. And okay, I see you. And for me, I'm not a struggle bus girl. That's not my mission. I am not about the struggle life. I do not want to white knuckle grip my way through fucking menopause while I try to figure out why my pussy is dry. Excuse me, F. Janelle. Welcome to my world. Why I'm drying up like the desert, and why I'm unable to reach over or don't want to be touched, because I have a fine thing in my bed every night. I want to be touched. I want to still continue to stay in my pleasure. I want to still be able to roll around and enjoy my love life. And also I want my knees to stop hurting. And I want my, frozen shoulder, my menopausal frozen shoulder to stop making little midnight appearances. And so there's all these other things that are, related to the inflammation in the body that I'm reading about, that are um, related to my body's inability to produce enough of certain hormones and certain chemicals that were already there. That's not that it's just simmered down on, and it's on this slow. I'm like, what can I do to get that fire going back up? Because I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in that. I don't need a fountain of youth. I don't need, thankfully I got grandma's genes. I don't need a Botox or anything like that yet. I'm not saying I won't get none, but right now we hold it together. And then on the inside, I'm feeling like these bones and these organs are not feeling the same way that she's serving 34. And then down here and here, she's serving 62 some mornings. And I'm like, this doesn't feel right. So I started taking the GLP microdose with the B12. I was already taking B12, as I mentioned, and just added the GLP just to, like, let's see what happens when it jump starts. And I can tell you, my testimony is this: it is 5:36 p.m. here today on a Tuesday. I have had an amazing lovemaking session this morning. We went on a 4-mile walk. I went grocery shopping. I made a pot of brown stew chicken. I then had 2 calls, went to go buy some last minute gifts for my VIP folks at the Tantra Fest, and went over to Chinatown to pick up all my ingredients for my kimchi class tomorrow. And I do not feel like I need to crash. And that, after a few weeks of being on this, feels like that's enough for me to say I'm gonna keep going. And we'll see what else is alive. But I know for a fact that there's much more energy for me right now than I've had. And this is for those of you that are rolling with me to Atlanta next at the end of the month. This is the month I need that energy. So for me, this showing up right now has been really, really great. And I'm just beginning. And so I just wanted to share because everything that I knew about GLP, period. All that I had heard about it was one, that we were stealing it from, if anybody was using it for weight loss or anything other than what it was designated for, that we were stealing it from the diabetics and the poor diabetics. And my dad is the type what was he had juvenile onset diabetes. And so I come from a family of diabetics. So I'm not trying to steal nothing from them. So me seeing that made me think, okay, wait a minute, I don't want to be one of those people. But then I got here, and this is what made me switch. And I want to tell you this because here in Panama, what happened was when they were saying there was a shortage of these medications in the US, there was no shortage here. And so I was like, well, doesn't make sense. If there's a shortage, why is there no shortage here? And I have an EpiPen. Anybody ever seen an EpiPen before? Okay, cool. It's like a self-administered, everything's all in one. The shortage was on the plastic piece, not on the medication. The shortage was the actual injector, which they don't use down here. Here, if I need my EpiPen down here is a vial of epinephrine. And if I get bit by something and I have to shoot, I gotta shoot that in my own thigh and hopefully not die. It's not the quick release thing that we're used to in the US. So I've been practicing by shooting myself with the B12 in case I have an allergic reaction down here that is that severe, but that's the reality. They don't have that little thing. So there was no shortage of the medicine. I knew that already because when I got down here, I was like, wait a minute, you can just walk in the pharmacy and buy it? That's weird. Um, and we're not taking anything because some of these Ozempic, yes, that's not what this is not that, right? There's different medications. There's so many different ones and people are lumping them all in one. There's some medications that are prescribed for folks that are diabetic. There's some that are prescribed and have other use. And there's some that are not, that are prescribed completely differently for people that are doing something that have completely different needs. The PT-141 is prescribed for hypoactive sexual disorder. There, like, that is an actual prescription that nobody, like, I'm in the field and I wasn't getting that memo. It wasn't until I learned about this company that I started learning that that was actually something that could be prescribed for it. The thrill pill having those things in it, like, it sounds, I'm not gonna lie, it sounds like a gas station pill, right? Like when I hear the thrill pill, I'm like, wait a minute, what are we talking? And I want to take it because I'm also like, yeah, I want more thrill. I want to see what this feels like, and I want to be able to test it out. Um, I gotta do it on the weekend where we got some free time. But I don't want to break the house, tear down the neighborhood. But those are the things that, like, okay, there's stuff out there that is not chemical, like there's not, that is not questionable. There's not like, what are these things? But what's in, you're looking at the ingredient list and it's like a bunch of roots and you don't know if it's going to be contraindicated to everything that you're already on. And you don't know what, we have people dying from fen from the gas stations. And I don't know. I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to play with those, but then you have something like this that is being prescribed, first of all, because you have to go through telehealth. I had to go through telehealth with a doctor to even get the prescription, and that's included in the cost. And for somebody like me who is underinsured in the US, greatly insured in Panama, but hella underinsured in the US, having access to telehealth, having access to an alternative to even be able to get the medicine. Because if you have insurance, your doctor's still probably not going to prescribe it because they're not in the business but they're gonna do what they already know first. They're gonna go to that. You can ask, and like, okay, let's try this first. And then if this doesn't work, we can look. But this is my protocol. Here's metformin. This is my protocol. And my doctor tried to put me on metformin when I was in my early 20s because I have never been diabetic. I did not need metformin. But because when I went in, I was going through a divorce and I had gained weight and my blood sugar was high. I then never had one doctor say, well, let's see if we can get you a nutritionist. I never had one doctor say, well, let's see if we can get you a dietitian. I never had one doctor say, what are you eating? Is everything okay? Are you depressed? Yes, I was depressed. I was going through my first divorce at 24. I was fucking depressed. Not one doctor asked me any of those questions. And that's still today. They're gonna tell you this is what your issue is, and we'll tend to this thing. And I I mentioned that I'm gonna close with this and let people ask and talk, but I'm one of the uh, things about having a father with juvenile onset diabetes is that I have a lot of people in my family with it. And I have a lot of people in my family who have had kidney transplants and or have at least lost a kidney. I have folks that are on dialysis. My brother died returning from dialysis a few years ago. Um, our kidneys are not meant to process all this other stuff that we're putting in. I know that for a fact. I know a lifelong journey on medication is also I'm asking more of my kidneys or my liver, depending on the medication, than it originally signed up for. And what that life cycle looks like, I don't know. But I know from what I've witnessed of my own family um, going through dialysis. I mean, just to be with somebody that's on dialysis, my Aunt Margaret is on dialysis. She's in there 5 days a week. I know for a fact that whatever happens in life, I'm trying to avoid that. I'm doing my best to not be on that path. And there's a dialysis clinic on every corner, damn near in any Black neighborhood and all throughout Hawaii. And um, so it's just something to like, it's a battle that we're fighting to just like try to hold on to our fucking kidneys to the end of this life. And so I think about that too. And I think about like what I'm going to be using as I work on my wellness and as I continue to on this second half of my century that I'm anticipating being here for. So anyway, that's it. That's me. I'm done. I don't know if I know there's some comments in the chat. The thrill pill is fun. Janelle says, um, Nicole says my doctor did the same thing and generalized uses of GLP meds. She straight said, if I'm not type 2 diabetic, I cannot have it. Yep, exactly. How don't you qualify? All right. Yeah. Yeah, so these are the things that this is the reality is that the doctors are actually not your local primary care physician just is gonna be like, nah, you don't need it. We'll do all these other things. We'll give you all these other things. And that pisses me off. Hey Tammy, I'm gonna be quiet. Go ahead.
Hey, I had put the question in the chat, but it was like, I think I said, what are you eating? Or how, are you hungry? And what are you eating these days?
Listen, I'm gonna tell you. So, I eat most of my meals at home. You know this about me. I don't eat out a whole lot. And one of the things that people have talked about in the other groups is the food noise. And I was like, well, I don't think I have that. And yes, I did. I did have it. I have food noise for snacks. And I have not been eating snacks so much so that when we left the US, because I just left you all, and we stopped at Costco in Texas, and I brought a big bag of these dark chocolate covered coconut bars, like my healthy snack food. But sometimes I will murder those. And the bag is barely touched in my freezer. Now that is unusual. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's unusual because I'm usually gonna knock about 2 or 3 of those down a day because I feel like they're healthy, right? It's dark chocolate, it's coconut, it's hardly any sugar. This is how I tell myself this is good. It's organic, it's gluten free. And the bag's still in the freezer. I have not been murdering them. If I get a hankering for one, I'll have one. But I'm definitely like what I have noticed is like I don't want to consume as much. Like my cravings. I don't have cravings. I notice when I'm hungry, and it's actually been really funny because I'm not snacking and because I don't have these cravings. When I'm hungry, that hunger comes on. Like, let's eat. It's time. It's time to eat right now. But that's usually twice a day when I'm supposed to eat. Like I get up, I do my workout, I have my smoothie, and then I go about my business. And then, yeah, about lunchtime, my body's like, bruh, what we doing? Let's get some food. And so then I go eat, and then yeah, usually about 4 or 5 o'clock, right about now, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get another one of those ding dongs in a moment where it's like, go ahead and have that second plate. But it's been like that. So it's been very like I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat. It's not telling me not to eat. So I could eat some bullshit. I could be like, you know what? I'm just gonna eat some junk. I'm not, I didn't like yesterday, I didn't prepare for Monday. And so I ordered some Korean fried chicken because that was, I know it's good, it's nearby, but that was my meal because I had meal prepped all last week, and then next thing I knew it was Monday and the fridge was empty. Um, and but like outside of that, I make all my food. I know what I'm going to eat. My protein is this. I know what I'm getting. And so I think it doesn't shift you. Now, if you eat Korean fried chicken every day, I don't think you're going to see the same results. And you're probably going to, like, I think a lot of times when people are having stomach issues, that's what, like, a lot of that is then going, like, now you have this medicine that's trying to do one thing and you try to do something different. So anyway, to answer your question, yeah, my cravings are gone. They're almost non-existent anymore. I can't think of like a moment where I've been like, and I am sure we talking right now, 2 weeks out from my biggest event of the year. Oh, I would be, I just know it. There would be chips. There would be chips. There's no chips. There's no chips. So yeah.
I think I was worried, yeah, because you talked about microdosing it instead of a full dose. So I know for people who take the full dose, they don't, their hunger is they kind of have to make themselves eat. So kind of
Mm.
just wanted to know the difference. Thank you.
Yeah. James is also microdosing. Janelle, I think you microdosed as well. Uh, is that correct? For me, yeah, I'm just gonna microdose. I don't want to do away with my appetite. I don't want to yo-yo. I also have a history of eating disorder. Okay, Janelle's on a full dose. So Janelle can probably speak more to full dosage, but I was as a child when I was younger, 14, I really struggled with the eating disorder. And so I'm also very cautious of things that make me not want to eat. I don't want to go down that path. It's a very like dark memory for me, and I don't even want to see if I don't even want to know what that's about. I don't want to visit that again. It took me a long time to get to the point where I could look at myself with love and really like get into myself as a whole being. And so I'm very cautious of that. I don't know what happens on the end of that. Um the microdose though is not taking away my desire to eat. It's just I'm not snacking. Uh, so you can see in the chat, Dr. Corey is taking a full dose. Janelle is taking a full dose. And Dr. Corey says she still eats regularly. Of course, it's still with intention though. Yeah. Any other questions? Oh, Jax, welcome. We're talking about semaglutides, we're talking about peptides in general. But right now we're really kind of hanging out in the GLP, GIP area. James, did you have anything you wanted to add? Being you and Jean, did Jean leave? Yeah, he left.
Hey, Amina.
Hey.
I don't have a lot to add. There was a lot of great info. I just want to say that, I turned 50 this year. I'm a new dad. My weight, I was not happy with it. I was stuck at 215 and at 5'11", and it just was not happy and decided that I needed to do something about it. So I did the microdose because it's based on BMI. So that's all determined through the medical questionnaire. If somebody has a certain BMI, if it's above, they'll do a full dose. If it's below a certain number, they'll recommend the microdose, because I only wanted to lose about 25 pounds or so to get down to about 190, I think is for my height and my age. I think it's just better for me to be lean. I'm not trying to be bulky. It's just not good for my back and my body. And I did it for my daughter, being first child, little girl. I'm 50 years old. I need to spend the next 20, 30 years prioritizing my health for my baby girl. And so I'm about 6 weeks in, and I'm down. This morning I weighed in. I started at 215. This morning I weighed in at 196 and a half, and I feel great. And I'm also doing the right activity. I'm eating better than I've ever eaten in a long time. Carb cravings are absolutely gone. I'm not a big alcohol drinker, maybe one or two drinks occasionally, but I have zero desire to consume any alcohol. That's gone. Um, and I'm doing cardio and I'm working out 5 days a week. I worked out last night for 75 minutes, weights, and I was looking at my watch. I burned over 800 calories. I think the active was like six or 700. I've never burned that many calories in a gym in a weight workout, and so I feel great. And I just started on Sermorelin, which is helps with the growth hormone, and I'm doing that because of my age. I want to have just more lean muscle mass, and just recover from the workouts. Um, so I just started on that, and yeah, and I'll just say this: my background's in mental health and substance use disorders, and we're finding there's a lot of research that's coming out about GLPs that it's helping people curb their addictive behaviors with alcohol and drugs. We have people on the team that are not overweight, that are actually in really good shape physically, but they had high blood sugar and high cholesterol, and they're on a micro dose. Janelle's husband, Nathan, um, because he had high blood sugar and high cholesterol, and with just a really low dose of the microdose, his his numbers have dropped dramatically, so he didn't have to go on those drugs that they wanted to put him on for those issues. I was bordering high blood sugar last year when I got my test, and I know it was directly correlated because of my weight gain. I had my doctor's like, your numbers are bordering, that pre-diabetic, and that'd never been an issue for me in my entire life. So I'll be getting some more blood work done this year, but I know the numbers are going to come back positive, or in a good way, because I'm already down 18 pounds from that test last year, or even more. So yeah, I don't want to keep going on, but I just want to say I'm pleased. And I'll say this last thing, Amina, is my sister did get qualified for Ozempic through medical insurance. She had to jump through all kinds of hoops. She's lost 60 pounds in a year. Um, but this is what I observed, is that she was doing this on a solo journey. She was only seeing her doctor, I think, like once every 3 to 6 months, just to check in, but no education, no real community support. And that's was one of the many things that attracted me about what Ellie's doing, is the community. I know, like, there's power in community. I've seen it in working with substance use and just anything. When you have your tribe, that's where people, thrive. And so that's what, for my sister, I was like, she's doing it on a solo journey, and I was really pleased to see that we have this community, this Facebook, the educational series that's coming out, that really empowers people to not just take the peptides, but to make changes in their lifestyle, eating better, exercising, and really making a lot of lifestyle changes with that. So I'll end with that. Thanks, Amina.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, James. Go ahead, Dr. Corey. I see some questions, but I'll let you go and then I'll attend to those.
Yeah, I was just gonna answer. Since I'm driving, I figured I'd just come off
Ah.
mute and instead of trying to type in the chat because that's not responsible. um, so hello everyone. And yeah, so I saw a few questions, one about compounding, and so I had responded that these are not FDA approved products from the standpoint that they are compounded. So the FDA does not approve. These are not like the products that you see in the commercials, right? They're not the same thing because they are compounded products. So the formulations are slightly different. The benefit, in particular, of the compounds that EllieMD uses is that they actually don't include propylene glycol, which is an additive that is often put in pharmaceutical products to basically just help with stabilization. So propylene glycol is actually known to be to cause cancer. So when you see that sort of additive in pharmaceutical agents, it's used as a stabilizer. In other countries, it's banned. The U.S., for whatever reason, hasn't banned it. But that's an advantage to using products that to using compounded products is the fact that you're able to only include in the product what you need, which is the actual active ingredient, which is the GLP-1 or the GIP, depending on whether or not you're talking about the single peptide or the dual peptide. In addition to that, you also can include other things like B12 and NAD and other additives that help to help with energy, because peptide, GLP-1, GIP can sometimes make you tired. So if you have that compound where you're able to compound with B12 or you can compound with NAD, you actually counter that sort of side effect associated with GLP-1. So there are some benefits to using compounded versions. I actually prefer for my clients to use compounded versions as opposed to the prescription, and it gives me more flexibility. It allows me to actually have their dose be unique to them as opposed to just a standard dose that comes within the prescription. So compounded is not necessarily FDA approved, but it is the same product that's providing the same action that the FDA approved product does.
Thank you. I think that's saying a lot to have someone that's a pharmacist that is saying like, I actually prefer my clients to take this format and not the others. So you'll learn more about Dr. Corey on Thursday if you're interested in joining that call, because I think it's really important. I'm big on like, okay, who's doing the talking and who has the information. And I think sometimes, information come in from so many sources, but when we're talking about medication and drugs, I want to talk to the person that went and got their doctorate in drugs. Like that feels really important to me. So I'm really grateful to have you on the call. Um, I saw a couple of other questions, but Sydney, I see yours and Sydney's questions. I've heard about negative effects with rapid weight loss with Ozempic, specifically in terms of weight loss. What can people expect in terms of rate of weight loss with other types of GLPs? Or these concerns with fast weight loss? Are there concerned with fast weight loss with these? I will speak just from my experience. I'm on week 3. I'm down like 3 pounds. It's not rapid. I could definitely lose more if I decided I wanted to go keto. I could, and I've done it 100 times. I've been on the ketogenic diet and dropped 7 pounds in a week, been super stoked to go to the party and then be back on my regular bullshit the next week. Because I hit my goal. And so this is not that, because this is really reliant on also your lifestyle change. And I think that what James brought up is really important, that like there's support around this in community spaces, because it's kind of hard to just make a lifestyle shift if you're not really committed. You've been struggling with that already. This is to support that, but it's not going to change who you are. You have to actually be committed to also shifting the way that you eat and shifting the way that you show up for yourself. And that is a part of this also. And so sometimes more support is needed. There is not a magic pill. I think Ozempic, which you won't qualify for, you'd have to get that in a different way. But Ozempic, I think, is different. In that, like a lot of folks are getting the Ozempic phase, and we were seeing that happen last year. Folks were dropping weight really rapidly. And it was really, I think, looked like disordered eating the way that it was showing up in the world. And this is different. So yeah, I can say that just from my experience. James has been on it for 3 months. You said and lost. I don't want to say only lost 16 pounds, but I think that's a very healthy pace, right? To lose 16 pounds over 3 months. Is that what you said, James? 3 months? Um,
No, I started in late June, so I'm like approximately 7 weeks. And yeah, it was a little aggressive at first, but to be in the safe zone, any professional will say you want to keep the weight loss at about 2.5 pounds a week. Is a really, give or take a half a pound, maybe, so like 2 to 3 pounds a week is a safe zone. And one thing I want to add to that is just to reassure anybody that um, decides to, do anything. Every peptide or coenzyme or tripeptide that Ellie offers, every single thing has to have a medical questionnaire completed, and you speak with a medical professional. So you can ask all your questions, and while you're on the prescription, you have access to the medical professional via the patient portal. and it's all HIPAA protected, all the medical questionnaire. Like I don't know what any of my customers order, and because it's a personal thing, it's all private. So you have the patient portal. But yeah, that's part of our educational community, is that you don't want to have that rapid weight loss. And if it's too aggressive, if it's, you can talk to the medical professional and they'll encourage you to lower the dose if necessary on a weekly basis, to keep you in that safe zone. But yeah, that's a big part of, people are out there doing it and they're not doing it with the proper education. They're, a big problem is people thinking, oh, more is better. No, you don't want to go above what's being recommended. That's where problems happen. Not consuming the right amount of protein, not eating right, exercising, because all of that's important. You want to have some sort of resistance training that's going to help with just muscle retention. So um, yeah, again, all of this education is available in our community.
Cool. All right. Well, I don't want to keep you all too long. We've hit the hour mark, and that's what I committed you all for. So thank you for showing up and asking the questions that you asked. I didn't look to see if there were questions that were on YouTube, but it doesn't look like there are any. So good. Yay. If you have any other questions, you know where to find me. I'm around. We will have a talk on Thursday, though, with Dr. Cooper and I Thursday night. So it's 6 p.m. for those of you on the West Coast. So it's not, it's not middle of your day. You can kind of get settled in and chill out for that one. If you have anything between now and then, just write it down and bring it to that. And if not, you can always ask. If you want me to add you to groups where folks are having conversations, I can with probably I'm hoping we can have a group of at least the folks of color that are in using this and have some community aspect for that. But right now what we have is we have some other spaces where you can get some real good questions answered. So let me just put that out there, and that's it. Thank you for coming. I'll keep you posted on my progress. I am on the GLP and the B12 microdosing. I'm not taking the GIP right now. I'm gonna add in some other things. I wanna get juicier. I wanna be wetter. I wanna be more of a sex kitten than I was 2 years ago. So I'm trying to age that part of me backwards. So I'm gonna be taking all the sex stuff. I'm gonna get in that PT 141 if the doctor say yeah. I'm gonna get in that. I might just go straight for the thrill pill. I don't know. And then the Simorelin that just is out now. I'm gonna do that because I just want. I'm in the gym and I'm sore and my booty looking right, and I want to keep it looking right, and that requires squats and they hurt. So I want I want that recovery to be there for me. So that's where I'm at. If you have questions about what I'm doing, or you just let me know. Otherwise, I will see you all at the next tomorrow, maybe for coochie and kimchi. I mean, cabbage and coochies. It's gonna be Zooming free for those of you that are members in the membership. Your Zoom link is there. Make sure you get all your supplies. All right, y'all. I'll talk to you later. Thanks, James. Thanks, Janelle, for coming on. Thanks, everybody,
Thank
for
you. See you later.